This sport I've been, this sport, find it. This sport I've
Today, in my living room, we've got arguably South Africa's most consistently touring and internationally renowned live performers and live mix DJs. Former YFM host,
Yeah.
present-day streetwear and athleisure icon.
Okay, thank you.
She's literally who you see live at Paris Fashion Week. Our boiler room princess.
Damn,
and
girl,
former
doing research.
South African national springboard diver, the swoosh gal, the bass queen, DJ Doowap. Girl, I had to have like the most fun, like with
That's
the
an
research.
intro.
Thank
she
you.
must be a legend, babe. Who is that?
I appreciate it. It's all you. You actually made my job really easy and really difficult at the same time.
Very cool.
It was difficult because it's like, what do I actually leave out? You know, like you don't want like the intro to be all of the accolades because we'd be going on and on and on. I had to be really selective about what I include.
I love that.
What would you add? Like what did I miss?
Afropunk. The fact that I performed Afropunk in New York and the first one in South Africa, I think that's major. The fact that I opened for MIA when she came to South Africa, that's also hella major.
Hella.
The fact that I played on the selection stage in New York, or not even stage, the selection event. It was their biggest event that they've done, and it was some mad number. I think it was like 7,000 people.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Is that like the biggest crowd that like you think you've performed in front of?
Afropunk might have been more. I don't know how many Afropunk is. But yeah, I think just the fact that it was selection and it was these people that I've always been obsessed with and like had them on my radio show and like always wanted to play alongside them and then them being like, yo, we flying you to New York to play on the biggest stage we've ever created. I was like, so I'm manifestation.
I love that.
Yeah,
dude. I
that
love
was cool.
What a crazy ride. Like it's
For
been,
sure. It's been 10 years.
It's in 10 years, but 10
10
years of like
bro.
constant growth, like, and just leveling up on yourself and,
sure.
and the manifestational powers are clearly,
You know?
clearly very much there. Like
Yeah.
you're very much in touch with
Thank you.
what you manifest is actually happening. But you know, it's easy to just look at it like that and downplay how much hard work goes into making any of these things happen.
And patience.
And patience.
Because you can manifest that thing and it can happen in a week or it can happen 10 years later. You know what I mean? You just have to be super patient. And like, that's the thing I've had to learn over these 10 years. It's like, it's not going to happen straight away, you know?
Yeah, I think that's like a really important lesson because you could quit the day before like, you get one of the biggest opportunities of your
For
life.
sure, that like, that story or terminology of like digging and like you're about to get to the treasure and the gold and you turn around and be like, okay, I'm done digging, like this is taking too long, I'm never gonna get to this treasure, when it's like you're 1 centimeter away. So for me, I'm always like, bro, what if I'm about to hit that treasure? Like, I'm just gonna keep digging as much as I'm gonna sweat, you know?
Yeah, I love that. I think, you know, one of the craziest things that I discovered when I started looking more into everything that you've done in this short lifetime so far
Thank you.
is just, wait, like, you know, I invited you onto this podcast without even knowing that you were like a professional athlete in this lifetime, a competing champion athlete representing your country.
For sure.
Like, how would you tell that chapter of your story?
It's like the main part because I feel like that's what developed my character into being like this go-getter, competitive, like I'm gonna kill it, I'm gonna be the best at what I'm doing. And it was like up until I was 21 years old. So that's the majority of my life that I was doing that. From like 9 years old of doing like intense training, morning, going to school, evening sessions, then like moving at 15 years old to Canada and training at a sports school there, then like coming back and getting scholarships for like sports, you know? So it was like a large portion of my life. Also like, big up to my parents and myself, we never really paid for school fees because I was always like a top athlete. So they always got to like, gave me bursaries and all of those things. But yeah, I think that's what like made me a champion. So I know like, they always say like 10,000 hours or 10,000 and you like master your craft and then you can apply that in any aspect of your life, you know? So I feel like I low-key mastered diving and being like a sports athlete that now like I can pretty much do anything and I'll be the best at it.
I really like the point you've made. It's actually a new spin on the 10,000 hours theory because like from my understanding, it's like 10,000 hours of work going into one specific field for you
But
to
I
be a
think it is
master.
one specific field, but once you master that field, then you've learned the gift of mastering and you can master
mastery.
anything, you know?
really-
But it is, you do have to master one thing, I think. And I feel like, let's say, for example, Kanye, he kind of low-key felt like he had to master music and then get into fashion, you know? Like, I always do believe you have to master one thing and then you can, like, diversify and do other things. But you also don't want to, right in the beginning, be a jack of all trades and then you never really learn how to master one thing, you know?
It's true, and you never know what thing to actually dedicate those 10,000 hours to. Because I think, I mean, there's two types of champion mentalities, right? Like there's people who, like you, zoned in on one thing and knew what you were going to spend 10,000 hours on. Then there's a lot of other people who don't necessarily have like that gift of knowing exactly what they want to do.
I get
So they
you.
have to trial a whole bunch of
Yes.
things. And that also has like different strengths, right? It's a different type of skill to develop.
For sure, but you take a little bit from everywhere.
Yeah, and like, you never know how like one thing you knew in one other area can come into play in something completely unrelated that you're doing. Going back to like the time that you spent in Canada, I thought it was really fascinating that like you got to go to a whole sports school. It's very unconventional for people who haven't gone to one. Like, what was it like being in a school full of outliers?
Yo, it was amazing. Like, I can't believe my parents got to expose me to that. That was crazy. Because everyone gets like this mission. We know what our mission is, and the school also does. Because like a lot of the time here at the school I was at, I'll be like, okay, I'm going for like 3 weeks to do world champs overseas. And then like, girl, what are you gonna do? There's exams, you got all this homework. Whereas the sports school, they were like, okay, we know that you have this competition coming up. There's a bunch of other people going to that same competition, like the swimmers and the divers and the synchronized swimmers. So it's like, they know that they have to push those exams out for us, or they know we need this certain amount of, hi baby, like this certain amount of like homework that they have to give us. So to have like a school, just walk on by, to like have a school that's focused on that, it was like super amazing. And then we also finished school early. I think we finished school at like 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. Like, where else are you gonna finish school that early? And then we could go to training, and there was like buses taking us to our different training centers. And also just having like athletes in your circle with that like same competitive mentality is insane. Like, because there's like people that have just come back from Commonwealth Games, or this young 14-year-old that like just got chosen for the Olympics, and you're like, what? I'm not even there yet, you know? But like being around like serious athletes like that, that's insane.
He's really taken a liking to you.
It's all good.
We love it. Cats, we know like you cannot make a cat sit anywhere, guys. This is
Yeah,
like,
they
this is pure
independent.
love. This is pure love here. Vibe check. He's on the Swoosh team.
Hey.
That's really crazy, dude. Like for people who may not know like the extent of the sports school, this is a school where you're like in it with a whole bunch of different athletes from different like fields.
There's soccer players, there's basketball players, there's everything. It's wild.
That is so wild.
Yeah, it was
Like,
beautiful.
did it push you?
Hell yes. You don't want to be like slacking. And also the training centers were like dedicated to all of us. Our vision was to go to the Olympics, literally all of us. So it's like super competitive. There's young people coming up the whole time. Like, yeah, it was crazy.
Like, other than the obvious differences of it being a sports school versus a normal school, because you've gotten to experience both, like, what do you think you learned from that space that you couldn't have from a regular school?
Discipline. Like, okay, fine, there's like educational discipline, but like sports discipline is different. And also nutrition. Like, I don't think schools often focus on nutrition, where that was a big thing at our school. And like from the catering, like at lunch break or like breakfast, and like what we're gonna eat, and like what you gotta eat when you're traveling, you know, like those things are really
What did
big.
you eat?
I don't know, bro. It was like always down to our weight and like the type of person you are and your blood type, and you like it was like that
Crazy.
specific,
Like
you know?
tailored for you.
Yeah.
Nah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But-
we were like creating machines.
Yeah. I mean, I think discipline's such a good point, because like, I mean, I don't think anyone really leaves high school feeling like, wow, I've mastered discipline. Hey, I'm set for life. I can really do anything now. Whereas, you know, in that kind of environment, do you think normal kids would have benefited from like a school like that?
Definitely. I mean, I don't think anyone's normal. I think it's just like a space to develop whatever you have.
Yeah.
So if we all
Like
could,
not athletically gifted to
Yeah.
the extreme kind of kids.
if we could just have schools that aren't only focused on like education or whatever, and like just let people flourish in their respective fields, would be dope. But I mean, that's like the perfect world. We'll get there.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I like the optimism
Yeah.
about it. We gotta move with that faith and hope.
For
that it can happen.
sure.
Yeah, you mentioned the Olympics. I don't know how difficult like the experience of letting go of that dream was. Like how hard was it for you?
Yo, it was tough. I mean, it was easier for me. It was super tough for my parents. They were like, girl, do you know how much we invested in you becoming an Olympic? Because, like, that was my dream from 3 years old. I don't know where it came from, but, like, from the moment I could talk, I'm like, I want to go to the Olympics. And, like, they were like, okay, like, we don't know where she gets this from, but we're going to invest everything for her to, like, achieve that. So that's, like, a lot of flights paid for, a lot of hotels, schools. I mean, I didn't really pay for schools, but like, you know, there was a lot that went into investing into me being an athlete. And like for me to just wake up and be like, yo, you know what? I didn't make the Olympics. That was my dream. I'm done. Like, I've been doing this my whole life. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm totally over it. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it anymore. I'm not going to wait another 4 years to try and make it. Like, I'm done, you know? And then like, what? Nah. So it took long for my dad to even speak to me, to like say he loves me. Because he was like a really loving dad. And like, I was daddy's little girl. And then he was just like, bro, we're only giving you money to study. Other than that, like, don't talk to us. And I'm like, what? You know, so I had to like figure my shit out, but it made me tough. And it was like a darkness that I actually needed to like realize like I'm never going to that place again, and like just finding light in myself, you know?
Yeah. I know you mentioned about when you went to England thereafter to study sound engineering, and that journey actually seems to be like the birth of DJ Doowap.
Yeah,
like
it was.
The seeds of how you ended up becoming who we know you to be now.
Yeah.
So everything does happen for a reason.
For
right?
sure.
Like,
I think my dad
through
sees that now. Well, my parents see that now. And they're like, okay, it wasn't for nothing. Like, what she did in that moment of, like, being disciplined and focused and drilled is, like, how she's applying it to her DJing life and career, and, like, look what's happening, you know? So now they come to all my events. They're, like, my number one supporters on Instagram. They're like, yo, you just went up another 100 followers. I'm like, oh, my God. You know, when I'm on tour, they'd be like, how's the airport, like what flight are you on next? And like now they're my number one supporters, so it's amazing, but it took a while, yeah.
It's the benefit of, you know, hindsight, and foresight, right? Like we don't have foresight into like how things are gonna unfold, and as concerned parents who just love you, like they don't know what you're gonna take with this gift and like channel it.
Yeah.
But I think the reality is that because you've done your 10,000 hours, like you're 10,000 hours ahead. Right?
It's like not for nothing, for sure.
Like you have that, and it's a mindset and a toolkit and a discipline can literally be applied to anything.
For sure.
And you certainly did apply it to something.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
you mentioned the light and like needing to find it.
Yeah.
How do people find their light? How did you find your light?
Well, unfortunately for me, I had to go to the pits of hell to like see what light looks like. Hopefully no one really has to do that. But, bro, I don't know. I think, like, sometimes you have to be the adult in, like, your parents' relationship or something. Like, you have to take the reins of your life and be like, you know what? I feel inside me there's this reason why, like, why I'm going to go study sound engineering and why I'm deciding on the side to take a DJ course. Like, there's just a reason for it. I can't explain it. Like, even my parents would be like, okay, fine. You can be a DJ, but, like, why don't you be a hip-hop DJ or a house DJ? Like, they're doing so well. They're killing it. They're making so much money. I'm like, that's great. But I promise you what I'm doing is going to change the game. They're like, what are you doing, though? And I'm like, oh, I can't explain it to you, but listen, it's happening. And it's like, the proof is the little, like, lessons that, or, like, positive omens that happen in the journey. Like, let's say, for example, I studied sound engineering, and then my dad, since he was like, I'm not giving you any money other than studying, I was like, okay, will you pay for a DJ course, and then I'll get money from DJing. He was like, yeah, cool. Like I said, education, pay for it, but everything else, no. I'm like, cool, got you. So then I did the short DJ course. It was like maybe 6 weeks or something. And then the first show I got booked for was at Roxy's in Marvel. And next thing YFM calls me the next morning. They're like, yo, we were at your show yesterday. Like, that set was insane. We don't even know what music you were playing because it was all music from the UK, like, that I'd just gotten, like, drum and bass, jungle, garage. Like, that was the vibe I was in. But they didn't really know that vibe. So this is, like, 2013. And they're like, bro, that set was crazy. Your skills are also crazy. Do you want a show on YFM? I was like, what? A show on YFM from my first DJ set? Like, that's an omen if there ever was one, you know? Like, and then you just take it and you're like, I'm going to run with it. Like, there's a reason this worked, you know? If something happens so easily, there's a reason for it. And, like, then you must put all your eggs or your energy in that vibe, you know? So I've just been trusting that and, like, the magic of the universe, let's say. Because, like, now I really feel it more than ever because I made the jump to, like, do myself, you know, and, like, not listen to anyone, none of my friends, my parents, and just be like, I'm going to listen to, like, my gift within because, like, that's going to guide me. And since I've been doing that, things have aligned really well.
I think that's a beautiful piece of advice to give to anyone, you know, because we do have that voice inside of us that does tell you something.
Yeah, it does.
It does guide you. If you listen to it, it's really hard to listen to it because it takes a big gamble to listen to it.
Because then you have that fear voice as well that will stop you.
And you know what everyone else thinks.
Yeah.
And that's a part of that. That's like the voice that's fighting with that voice.
Yeah.
And you want to prove like all of the other voices wrong, but that is a risky thing to do.
It is.
But it's also risky to listen to anyone else and live with the resentment of, well, this wasn't even a decision I really made for me.
Yeah.
So it pays off.
It's risky but rewarding for sure.
Yeah, you know, like you listen to yourself and let your inner voice guide you. And I think that's something we can all learn to do. And the more you trust it, do you feel like you now have a better relationship with that inner voice?
For sure. And I think that voice grows through traveling. Like, the more you travel, you're kind of like alone in a hotel with that voice. You're like about to go on let's say like a stage all the way in Morocco where you've never been and you have no idea how the crowd is going to be, you know, absolutely no one there. The only person you have is you and your voice and like that thing inside you, you know, like that magic. So that's when it like really grows because it's like, yo, I'm scared as hell. I'm shaking. I like puking in the bathroom just before the show. And then I'm just like, let's go. And then like that feeling you feel of that light and you seeing everyone smile and everyone's dancing and they like can't believe it and you can't believe it and you're like shining. That is so magical. And like I feel like it's been growing so much through traveling and the tours and just like jumping, you know?
I think that's something that a lot of people in the audience just have no idea that you're even going through that.
Yeah.
You know? Like when we
they're like, you're so confident.
You're so
Where do you get this confidence? Where do you get this energy? Oh my God. I'm like, girl, if you only knew I was dying 2 hours ago. And I'm like, thank you. No, I see it in you. And I do. Like, I see it in the people themselves. And, like, I wish everyone could see it, you know? Yeah. And that was also something that, like, the people in Morocco really, like, resonated. You could feel that, like, they hadn't been in a space where they could let go like that in a long time. And it was also, like, the earthquake had happened 2 weeks before as well. So there was, like, all this tension, but they're, like, letting it go. And a lot of them came and was like, we haven't been to an event like that where we can just dance freely. Like, there were gay guys in the crowd, and people were shocked, like, but they weren't shocked in the moment. They were shocked after the event. They were like, we can't believe that there were these gay guys so free to dance, and they were like protected by women, and women were so sexy, and like no man was interfering, and it was like the best thing. And I was like, I didn't even realize that's a big deal. We're just like dancing again. We're having the time of our life, and like actually we're like breaking stereotypes and like changing things, you know?
Absolutely.
So that was cool.
Because like you're going with like what you know South Africa to be, and like how familiar that is, but the impact that actually has in each space that you go to is different. Like the thing that's gonna leave when long after you've left the country, those people remember that.
Yeah, there's still that vibe.
Now they're looking for more events and more to create more spaces that are
definitely.
safe like
I'm already seeing that for sure.
It's
amazing.
Impact. It's impact, you know?
But also South Africa's got a crazy energy, bro. Like, also as soon as you go to a place and you say you're South African now, because they've encountered so many South Africans with like wild energy, they're like, yo, South Africa. Oh my God, it's so nice. Oh, Johannesburg, Cape Town. You know, people change. I'm like, wow, South Africa's really impactful right now. Like, we are shifting things in the music realm and everything, you know? So Yeah, it's amazing.
Would you say that like it's changed? You know, you've been performing overseas for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Like, has the perception of South Africa changed?
Definitely. In the last 4 years, we're getting worshipped. Whereas before, it was like, okay, yeah, no, cool, okay, good. But now it's like, oh my God. And also just the amount of bookings I'm getting all around the world. Like, I was in Jakarta just before the 2-month tour. Like, we worldwide now, you know, which
Had
is
a whole ass
crazy.
billboard in Jakarta, dude. That's so sick. Now we're gonna add the furs afterwards.
Great.
So, what would you say like the role of sports is in your life now? You know, what has it been like in the past 10 years where you've been full-time Doowap?
No, sports is so huge. Like dancing already is a sport. You gotta be an athlete to be a dancer. People must never deny that. Because I go like, oh my gosh, just yesterday I was with Pantsula dancers I'm doing like Pantsula dance classes. That is cardio at its worst, my boy. Like first we had to run, then we were doing like all the dance moves, like the Pantsula dance. I'm just like dancing, that's a whole like athlete mode, and I incorporate that a lot in my performances because I want it to be a show, not just like a DJ. I don't just want to be a standing DJ. Like from the beginning, I told myself that, you know, I was like, I don't want to just be someone standing there DJing on the deck. Is it fine?
I think it's someone's car, yeah, but it was just like, it sounded a little bit ominous.
Like a UFO coming
Yeah,
in.
like it could be.
So like for me, I didn't want to be this DJ that's like just standing still and just playing music and expecting people to have a good time. I was like, I need to have a good time for them to have a good time. And for me, having a good time is having dancers, having a show. I feel like a lot of the South African energy is the dancing. And I also think it's an easier way to introduce people to new music is if you dance it to them and they're like, oh, this is how the song feels, you know what I mean? So you're like dancing on the stage and they're like, oh, then in the crowd they can feel exactly what that song is doing, you know? So I think like that's a nice way to relay music is through dancing. So that's still in my athlete mode. And then obviously, you know, I've been sponsored by the Swoosh gang. I've been sponsored.
We're getting to that. I have
Nike
so many questions, girls.
and Oakley for a few years. So like those are all athlete brands and they keep me athletic. Like Oakley will be like, yo, let's organize a run. I'm like, ooh, I gotta get back to running, boy. Because obviously I have to be the best at that running competition. And like with the Nike family, like they always doing things like going for a run with Casper in your vest in Berlin, 21 half marathon. And like, okay, now they're like, girl, you have to pace Casper. Like, you must be in front of Casper. I'm like, 21? Oh my God, I'm not gonna tell them I haven't done a 21 in a while. You know, I'm just like, yeah, of course I can do it. So like, come on, free flight to Berlin. I'm not gonna turn that down. So I'm like, first thing in the morning, back to the athlete.
But Casper's also stressing. Yeah. He's like, I must keep up with Doowap.
We are stressed the whole flight. We're putting our legs up, icing, like, let's get this life. So, like, yeah, no, it's crazy. And, like, even now when I was there for Paris Fashion Week, Nike did, like, these pop-ups where you go and you get personal trainers that train you, and then you can go and, like, shop and get some nice Nike clothes. So the whole time I have to stay fit, you know, like, to firstly work with the brands that I want to work with, and secondly, to be fit on stage. Like, doing a 90-minute set is super tiring if you're dancing the whole time, jumping, sharing your energy, laughing, screaming, jumping on the mic. Like, I don't want to be dead. Like, oh my God, look at that girl. She's so unathletic. I would hate that.
It is a
So I try and, like, really keep up with my athlete mode as much as I can.
Yeah.
It's tough on the road, like, going to the gym and running, like when you going to sleep at 7 a.m. and then you've got a flight at 11 a.m. or whatever. But like, I still try, you know, try and keep active.
No, I think everything that you do requires a lot of energy exertion.
For sure.
Especially the way that you've chosen to take on DJing. Elaborate choreography is such a big part of the Doowap experience.
For sure.
And I think you've answered why that is. Like, you made that decision from the beginning that you weren't just going to be someone who stays comfortably behind the decks.
It has to be a show.
A lot of DJs are very comfortable, by the way. They're like, this is my safe space.
But I will say that like women in DJing have elevated how you should DJ. I think men are definitely under pressure, which is beautiful. They're under pressure because like we know our skills have to be dope so that we can be taken serious, because we have to be 10 times better for people to take us serious. And also now that we like performing, Like, men can't just stand and DJ anymore. Like, if you're not performing, we're gonna get another woman to come through, and you're not gonna like that, you know? So, like, now men are like, they're having to loosen their shoulders a little bit, you know? And I feel like us women are taking over the decks.
Who's another female DJ that, you know, you really, really appreciate the performance of?
Performance element, definitely Uncle Waffles. I think she stepped up the game a lot. Durban Gorgo, just like her energy, and then the crowd, like not a crowd, but the entourage she rolls with, they know the assignment and they inject energy, and I love that. I love Desiree, who's like doing all the house sets all around the world, like, and I think people don't talk about her enough. Like, she's not necessarily performing dancing, but her DJ sets are damn good and her skills are good. And she doesn't just DJ with 2 decks, she has 4, you know? So like, we really elevating it.
Double trouble.
Yeah,
That's
like
crazy.
It's serious.
I really like what you said about, you know, adding dancing as a critical element of experiencing the music for the first time for all of the crowds who may be listening to, you know, the genres that you're really introducing to them for the first time.
Yeah.
And knowing how the movement goes, they're like, okay, I'm allowed to dance like this. This is how I'm supposed to feel. This is the feeling that I'm supposed to take away from the song. And I think that if that was actually done across the board, we would be introduced to music a whole lot differently. If that was just the standard. So thank you for raising the standard to that point.
For sure.
I think it's fucking sick.
Thank you.
It's really, really cool.
Thank you.
I just love everything that you're doing with dancing.
Thanks.
And your performance art. Would you say, do you feel like a pioneer?
Yeah, I'm definitely a pioneer. Like, in the beginning, I don't know, I was in doubt, or I did, actually, I think the whole time, I never know, I'm such a pioneer that I don't know how to monetize the great ideas I do. So I don't like, I'm just doing it because I think it's cool. Like, now I'm doing beads in my hair, I think it's cool. But in a year, we're gonna see everyone with beads in their hair, you know? Or like, when I used to dance and DJ, like, from when Afropunk came, which was at like 2015 or something, that's when I started doing that. And now you see a lot of DJs worldwide doing that, like with dancers and DJs, where they never used to do that. So, like, even the colorful braids, I was doing that in 2010. And now, like, there's a lot of massive artists doing it. So before, I think I didn't know, or even now maybe, I don't realize sometimes that I'm like changing the game until it's like a bit late. Like, someone else takes it and they run with it and they like make millions, and I'm like, oh, freak, like, damn, boy, that was like $1 million thing I just did. Because for me, it comes so natural. And then I realized, actually, you know what? I'm so tapped into the source. I must be proud of what I'm doing. And like most real pioneers, most times die not really getting their flowers. It's a sad story. I don't want to be that. But I'm also at peace with that, you know? Like, I'm at peace with shifting the game because it's always for the better. There's more women DJing. There's more activity on stages. The bar's always being raised. So I'm at peace now. Like, before, I used to be mad upset. Like, they copying me. I'd go home like, Mom, there's another person copying me, and now she's worldwide, and like, she's making millions. I just saw her in a Bentley, and you know? And it like used to break my heart. And I'm like, nah, bro, like, actually it is a compliment, and actually my time will come. And also, quick up, quick down, boy. I'd rather take long and then climax forever than like have a quick up, quick down because I copied someone, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that could take away a slow rise.
Yeah.
Like an overnight 10-year success. Yeah, nothing can change that, right?
For sure. But you also, it's that patience thing again. Like, just knowing it's God's timing, like your timing. You know, it's not like you can't rush it. Like, and you can't be upset with anyone that comes into like last minute and just be winning straight away. Like, there's a story for everything. Sometimes you think someone has it all and they really don't. Like, they're super unhappy, you know? So for me, like, I cover my bases. Like, I'm mad happy, I'm mad in love, my family's healthy. Those are the most important things. Like, if anyone's copying my swag, it doesn't matter. I've got more swag.
Yeah. I really like that. It's like, well, there's more of where that comes from because it's actually coming from a deep, real place within you.
Yeah.
And imitation is the ultimate form of flattery.
Yeah, I hear that.
Aside, I know it's different when someone really like monetizes something you've been doing, but the real ones know. right? Like the real ones have been seeing you from 2010.
But the real ones won't ever say anything. So are they the real ones? But anyway, that's a conversation for another day. Like I said,
It
I'm
doesn't
not
have to be.
better.
Tell us more.
No, it's just like, I also get it. If I see someone copying something, I won't necessarily come out and be like, yo, I saw that on that other person first one. So I get it. It's like all part of the motion. And people will always say like, oh, the real ones know. But I just feel like the real ones never say anything. The real ones never come out and be like, that's dope, or did you know that like actually that was from there? Like,
Yeah.
But at the same time, do we need to say it? No.
I don't know. It didn't
I
really
think we
go
should
well
keep
for
him-
Kanye when he did that.
I think we should just keep it moving, you know?
Yeah, keep it moving. Trust that, like, if it's coming from a deep enough place within you and that it's something that's actually authentic to you, that, like, there's going to be more of it. And I think maybe if I'm picking up on the right thing, a lot of these monetized ideas are not like that person running with it themselves. And the power of this, like, hectic, like, capitalist machine behind them.
Sure.
That's like, hey, this we're going to run with.
Yeah. No, that's true.
I wanted to ask you this later on, but I think it's like a good time to ask this question, seeing as we've spoken about it. What has made you remain independent?
Boy, I have such high standards of like work ethic and just where I want to place my brand. And it's so easy to go for quick money. And I think like I'm really against that. Like if I don't resonate super deeply with a brand, like I won't go, even if the check looks insane. And like some managers and people just can't take that. Or like I'm just like constantly on the move with crazy ideas. And like if you tell me we can't do it, I can't work with you. Because like why are you telling me I can't do it? If I imagined it, we can do it. It's already happened, you know? And that's like my mentality, and it like drives people crazy. And I also never want anyone to tell me like what my brand should be. And I think any like record company or something would do that. And I don't want that. And like also finding trustworthy people is really tough. Like I've definitely tried a few times, but I think every time it just comes back to like, no one works as hard as me. No one is as honest as me, loyal. And like, I'm forever open. And I will, like there's people I've worked with for 4 years. I'd be, you know, like, but I also think people just come in your journey, they contribute, you learn from them, you move on. Like, that's how it is. It's not that like I totally want to be independent, but like I definitely want to have full control of my brand, and it's hard to have both.
It is hard to have both. And I
Yeah.
think that also becomes the place where your agency is the most important. You don't want to be told what the Doowap brand looks like.
Yeah.
Or to have to like even dumb it down or risk dumbing it down just so it can appeal to 10 times the audience or whatever the case may be. No one's as competitive as you are. No one has your best interests
For sure.
more than you.
Yeah.
And I get that rationale. And I think that's something that really answers the whole like why someone can run with something and monetize it, and why what you have is actually more precious and valuable because you're choosing it.
Yeah.
You're choosing to have like this, I don't know, like full control, and that's what comes with full
I
control.
also studied music law and contracts, so I'm traumatized. Like, studying that made it hectic to sign any contract, because, like, there's, like, horror story after horror story of, like, artists that you've always, like, loved and worshipped and believed in, and then to find out, like, how they got fucked over by a record company or a manager, or it's just, like, or a brand, or like, you know what I mean? I've just watched enough movies. I've studied the music law and contracts, like, so it's really hard to sign contracts, like, when you know. And, like, sometimes I know too much. Like, if I'm working with an agency and they have a brand and, like, they want me to work with the brand, and I'll check the contract, and then I'll be like, oh, well, you know, there's this, and you're using my likeness, and you want to, like, what, you know, like, just random questions, like, I'll be like, you know, what's the usage period? Or like, where's it gonna live? Is it gonna be on a billboard? Is it gonna be on social media? Is it gonna be a website? Is it gonna be on TV? And it's like, I'll ask all these questions and I'll highlight the contract, and they never used to that. They're like, people don't dispute our contracts. Like, what do you mean? We've just got all these other people that just signed it, like Doowap, but, you know, or like, why are you asking us? Like, how did you know about the usage period? Or how did you, and it's like, yeah, when you know a lot, like sometimes it makes it a bit tricky because you can't get fucked over very quickly, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But then
a lot
you
of
also
mini red flags.
Yeah, but you also lose out on like a few chicks. But I'd rather that because you're gonna regret it down the line anyway. You know?
Rather that, because like when you do sign, now they also are entitled to a part of you.
Yes.
And you
For
know, the
sure.
contracts never say, oh yeah, we wanted this amount of content, but they didn't mention that every piece of content that they reject, you have to still
Redo it.
You have to still redo it.
No,
There's
it's
just
a
so
big
many
thing.
of these like tiny
It's
little
super
loopholes.
tough. And the social media influencer realm has made it like difficult. Because also you want to tell other artists like, boy, don't sign this contract. I'm telling you, it's not the one. You don't even realize your value. Like for me, my value is high. And if you don't reach that, I'm gonna have to turn you down. And I know it works at the end. Like to be able to work with Nike and Oakley and WWF and G-Star for like, you know, Nike's 8 years, Oakley's 5 years. You know, like to work with brands for that long means that there's like a loyalty thing there. And like, I'm not just gonna work with anyone because I wanna keep those standards super high.
And I think, like you said, with this new era of like social media influencers, contracts that are being given to artists are the same contracts that would otherwise be given to people who may be doing social media full time and like that, like influencing is what they do. But once you get an artist, the artist has their own vision, dog.
It's different.
Like they have their own idea of how they're gonna approach this brief.
Yeah.
Even if they're following it, it's like, okay, but if you want this to look organic, which is what they always want, they always want it to be like, we want this brand to enter your world. We want you to enter this
until it's
brand's
time
world.
to do the work.
Until you execute it and give them something truly fresh and unique.
Yes.
You guys tell I'm speaking from experience.
For sure.
It's almost like they didn't actually want someone who has a creative vision. They didn't actually want a musician to execute this any differently.
No, exactly.
The same basic will do, you know?
And also, I think sometimes they'll compare us to maybe influencers that post 1,000 times a day and have like 250,000 followers, but they've never left South Africa. They like haven't even left their bedroom, you know, and then they're gonna compare you with your like 33,000 followers. And it's like, girl, how can you be charging us this much when there's someone that just signed the contract for 250,000 followers? I'm like, boy, I don't care. Those people have not traveled around the world. Those people do not have the brands I work with. Those people have never been on the stages I've been with. Like, it's not about the followers, you know? And it was actually big brands that told me that. That were like, that told me it's not about the followers. It's like agencies come and they think like followers means the great work you're gonna get, you know? Or like means your value. And it's not. Like, you can easily buy followers. Like, you can go and just, you know, get 1 million followers, but like, are they real? Are they authentic? Or are they organic? Do you actually hold that value, you know? And I think the follower thing really messes up a lot.
I think that's some valuable piece of advice from these big brands that like followers isn't everything.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from like metrics and engagement and whatnot, like you said, like a lot of people prioritize quality over quantity when it comes to content as well. And they're not just gonna like 10x annoy like everyone who does support them and follows them for a specific reason and flood just random content their way and just hope for the best. Going back to style, because there's just so much to cover with you when it comes to style.
Can I have some of this gin?
Go for it, girl.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
To the good sport.
To the good sport.
Merci. Love it. Okay, style, my favorite subject. What do you want to know?
How important do you think like style critics that you trust are in the formation
Style
of
critics. Who's a style critic?
Okay, so let me be more specific. I know that you know in your life you have gone through this.
Where's the tea, babe?
It's the tea, and like I want to ask you about the tea. So this is guys, life's imperfect. Deal with it. Just in your story, you've gone through a lot of experimentation to find the style that you have now today.
Yes.
Right? I know, like when you were in England, there was a whole lot of experimenting involved in. And like your queer friend group helped you.
Yes. Oh my God, that's
so much.
so true. Yeah.
And then in South Africa, I mean, growing up, I know that Boom Shaka was a huge like influence for your braids, and Boys and Bucks kept you on your feet, not on your toes when it
with
came
the
to style.
sneakers. Woo.
So that's what I mean by style critics.
I feel like you know everything already.
Oh my God! So
What else can I say?
so let me phrase it this way.
Yeah.
How important do you think trusted style critics are?
Trusted style critics.
People whose opinion you really trust.
Yeah. I don't trust anyone's opinion when it comes to fashion, my boy. Like, for me, I'm the one who's coming up with the idea. Like I said, I'm a pioneer. So how am I going to trust anyone when no one has the vision that I do and they're not connected to the source like I am?
I love that. I
love
the word sauce in this.
It's so important. Source is everything. So yes, there's people that inspire me. And like you're saying, like Boys and Bucks with the sneakers, like they knew everything about sneakers. They also helped me with like the whole Nike vibe. And Daily Paper is a brand that I also was connected with from the very beginning of my career. So even this is Daily Paper.
It's like is that the logo? It looked
It's a bit,
familiar.
it's a bit of the logo print. So Daily Paper is a brand I wear all the time. So it's like just also surrounding myself. Also my love. My husband is super into fashion, so he puts me onto a lot of brands. My sister as well, she's so future when it comes to, so yeah, those are the people I trust, and that will put me onto like new things, social media. For me, I like to make a lot of my stuff as well, super inspired by traditional clothes, like with the beads. So I always like to put beads in a lot of the things I do. Yeah, and like you said, with the UK, huge moment for my fashion vibe. Because in the UK, people are pretty like wild, and you'll see like a goth person, or you'll see someone like in Lumo, I don't know what, and then a feather, and then, like there's a whole lot of different types of people in London. And I think I learned a lot from that. And I was like you're saying, in the LGBTQ community, underground scene, they dress up however they want, super sexy. So I learned a lot from them as well, yeah.
I love that. I feel like the key word in here is sauce. And I'm going to say I love it a lot because I really do love half of the things that keep coming up here. Sauce is the key factor.
Yes.
You know, Money Badu.
Yes, of
girl.
course. Money
A$AP
Bad.
Rocky
Yes.
and yourself have two things in common.
Other than born on the same day. Is he born on our day too? No, he's not.
No, I don't know about that, but you're both you're all three of you are Libras.
Is it? Okay.
And you have impeccable
We source gods.
sense of style.
Yes, I
What
agree.
is the sauce, dude? What is the sauce?
I don't know. It's connected to yourself. Not being afraid. Like, I think a lot of us will open the cupboard and know what we want to wear and see the vision of like, okay, I get it. I don't know if everyone feels this. Maybe it's actually just me. But I'm sure people open the cupboard and they have this like vision of what they can wear, right? And then they go, oh no, but not that top. Like, that's a bit too bright for like, come on, I'm going into this setting and like my parents are gonna be there, or like, no, I can't possibly go to the office like this. Like, what are they gonna say? Or like, oh my God, no, like this is a wedding. I couldn't possibly wear pink pants to a wedding. No, if I block all of that out. Like, if I ever say to my husband, like, is this too much? He's like, too much for what? Like, too much for who? I'm like, exactly, that's why I married you. Cause like, block that out. Like, I think that's where we block our individual character and how we dress, is through that, like, oh my God, but what are they gonna say? I never think about that.
And yeah, there's just a lot to digest. Because I think that was just really good advice. I was asking because I've just noticed that Libras just tend to have impeccable sense of style, and more so than looking
But
good.
we'll throw anything on. You'll also be like, oh my God, how did A$AP put that kilt on top of those jeans?
I was thinking about that exact look from the Riot music video, bro.
Telepathic
Wearing a vintage England, like Three Lions jersey, a kilt, like
and jeans
anything,
and a big
bruh.
buckle. For me, it's just that thing of like, you get told by that voice we always talk about what to wear, what will look good, what's a vibe. And most of us block it out because we're afraid. We're afraid to take that chance of dressing like that.
What's appropriate, what will
But kids, that's why I love kids, because they will throw anything on. You'll see this girl, little ballerina skirt, and she's got the shorts with the jeans on top and the socks. And you're like, girl, where did you get that? Like, your style is unbelievable. And if I don't understand someone's style, I'm like, vibe. Like, if I don't understand what you are doing, you are vibing. You know what I mean? Because it's like, in your mind did you get that? If it's something I've seen and it's like, put me to sleep, you're a sheep. But like, but other than that, like, for me, it's just like that voice tells you how your character is, what your vibe is, and you must just listen to it and go for it. Who cares?
That's true. Who does care? Because everyone's busy worrying about what everyone else is thinking.
Yeah.
So no one really actually cares about what you're wearing.
Yeah.
And that's just
if they make a comment, that means that they're uncomfortable. That's their own projection. They wish they could have stepped out the house like that.
Yeah, and I guess like negative feelings or positive feelings, it doesn't matter. There's no bad publicity
That's true.
here. Like indifference is, like you said, the worst way to feel about an outfit.
Yes.
Okay. And so kids, the inner child. Let the inner child
Dude, for me it's that. Like, I let my inner child flourish. Like, for real.
Does that mean that it takes you very little time to get ready? Seeing as you just like stand there and you have like a vision of how this outfit's gonna come together?
No, because then I'll also throw it together and then I'm like, oh, I could elevate this. And I'm like, why not actually, you know? So it does take me long still. I'll say like it takes me about an hour to get dressed, and that's including makeup. It's not bad.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
So, yeah.
I dig. Now finally, the Nike bid, because this has just been a burning question of mine for years.
Okay.
Firstly, like, there's just something that I really appreciate about the Nike brand and how they've approached their brand image and marketing. For me, from where I'm looking at it, it's like they've taken a more exclusive approach to how they're gonna brand and associate with individuals when it comes to the brand. Like, some of the biggest names that, you know, we affiliate Nike with are American giants. Michael Jordan, you know, Serena Williams, Kobe Bryant. There's a lot of them are American. I mean, it is an American brand first and foremost. So how did your relationship with Nike start? Like,
so I think like they were trying to find people that in the entertainment industry that are athletes as well. And you know what? When I throw events, and it has to be like an event for Nike or Oakley, I also find it hard to find artists and creatives that are athletes. Like, that are serious athletes that like show that they're athletes, that are open to be adventurous. Like, it's really tough. And I think that they found out that I had been representing South Africa for years. It was like I was reigning champion for like 5 years straight. Also, I was
Let's stop and appreciate the win.
And I was also the only woman of color. And then now I come into the game in 2012, super young, being one of the first women of color to like really push the DJ scene and like raise the bar and be touring overseas like fairly quickly and have my own show. And it was like I was ticking a lot of boxes for a brand like that because they are about like the best of the best, and my mentality is also the best of the best. And I think they just resonated with that, and they really do their research because like the people that they take are people that are just about to like blow, or like, you know, I don't know how, bro. They like found me. I was like, how? And they were like, we know all of this about your life. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. And they're like, and I think they knew my value before I did, you know, and because of being associated with them, it really opened a lot of doors as well. And like, for example, going to Afropunk in New York and being like, having them as family and being like, can I come to the head offices and get outfits for the Afropunk show? And then being like, of course. And getting there and having the best hospitality. It's like at the top of the headquarters and have rails of clothes and this huge empty bag for my dancer and I, and like, fill it up, girl. And you're like, what? Obviously, we were super humble, like one of each. And she's like, okay, that's cute that you're being modest, but fill the bag up. And we're like, really? Can we get one more? She's like, yes. I'm like, ah. And then like also the sneakers, like just seeing rows of sneakers and like choose which one. But you also have to do your research. There's also people that will like join a brand and not really like know anything about them. Like, you can test me on sneakers. I will answer you like, that's from 19 whatever, Bill Bauman Soul. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I will go in on the sneakers. So it's like, I also have a passion for it, you know?
Yeah.
And like, maybe I'm brainwashed, but like, I love the brand and I push it and I do feel like it's part of my lifestyle and it's like a natural fit, you know?
Yeah, because you mentioned like this was what, like 8 years now?
Yeah.
that like they've been on the scene with you. That's quite early on into your music
That's
career.
what I'm saying. They like saw something that I didn't even see at that time, you know, which is incredible. And I think like when you watch or like read Shoe Dog the book or like watch the Michael Jordan documentary, like you will see that they do that. Like they do their research and they do like bank on someone and just like put their eggs in that basket and be like, this person's going to do something crazy, you know? So I really respect them as a brand to do that.
I respect them as a brand for like giving us Doowap and like, you know, adding to it. They were like, you know, they knew what you were gonna do and the impact that you already had at that point, and they wanted everything to do with it.
Yeah,
that's great.
it.
I just imagine like what does this room look like of these people at Nike headquarters crunching the numbers and like doing their research?
It's like that's also what I love. It's the most relaxed environment like in every country. In every country I go to where I'm going to the head office, it's like chill. There's a basketball court. They're like, you know, they have like food spreads and it's just like so relaxed. It's like walking into a museum actually. And you walk in a museum and there's like, this is like, I don't know, a calendar of Michael Jordan when he used to come in here, or like just wild stuff of like history of sports. And yeah, it's like a museum. I feel like each place you go to is like a museum.
Yeah, that's super, super, super cool.
Yeah.
I can imagine that like it's not open to the public though, right? Like any of these spaces. Like,
No.
Yeah, exclusive, that thing. But that's like part of Nike's brand. That is exactly how they've defined themselves. Even today, I have this quote specifically off of the Nike website that reads, "We proactively seek athletes to wear the swoosh and represent the Nike brand. While we appreciate your love of sport and interest in Nike, we don't accept unsolicited sponsorship requests." So they gotta find you.
Yes.
They gotta find you.
No, it's literally that.
And I love that. And it's like they're just saying it. They're like, we know you, we know. But yeah,
there's levels.
We will find you.
Yeah. Don't call us, we'll call you, babe.
We'll call you.
Yeah.
We know your number.
There's levels.
So you would attribute at least a big part of it to the fact that you were already like an athlete and a person who in many ways was ticking a lot of the boxes, being a woman of color, being a professional athlete, being a musician who's pushing boundaries and is a style icon.
Yeah. And also, pushing boundaries for sure, and also liking sneakers. I was rocking Jordans before women were rocking Jordans, like 2000 and something. I was really, because that was from the UK, like Foot Locker and all of that. Like I was getting those sneakers. So when I came to South Africa, people were like, "Whoa, where do you get those from?" And I was like, "Oh, is this a vibe? Okay." And then like I was rocking all my sneakers, and I didn't realize I was a sneakerhead at the time. Now I realize it's a ridiculously bad addiction. Like I just moved houses. It's bad. Like the boxes I have is ridiculous. And I'm like, no, but I can't give this because I need this one. Like this is from, and it's like, no, girl, let go. Like my family had to be like, please let go of some of this.
So what size are you?
That's the great thing is I'm a size 3, so no one fits in my shoes.
Crazy. Like what are you gonna do with the shoes?
No, I do give a lot to like kids. No, I do. Yeah, I give a lot away. Like, you know when you do your spring clean and you like let out a whole lot of clothes and sneakers, like I do let go of my sneakers. And my mother-in-law is a size 3, so she gets a lot as well.
Oh, and you already mentioned that your husband's very big into fashion, so I imagine he got it from his mama.
Yeah,
so like, it runs in the family.
So she gets it, yeah. That's a vibe.
That's super cool. I think like at the heart of all of this is the real passion that you've always had for athletics and athleisure to begin with, right?
For sure.
I imagine being an athlete, you wore a lot of athleisure growing up? Or like was always in sporty clothes?
In a freaking swimming costume, boys. I'm not gonna lie. I was in a swimming costume 24/7. But then later, the transition in 2012, it was automatically doing that for sure. Because like you're saying, like, yes, I'd be in a tracksuit or I'd be in like a tennis skirt because it was, And I didn't realize the word was athleisure until like, 2016, 2017 when they started naming it.
Yeah.
But for me, it was just like, that was my swag, that was my vibe. It still is, like, I love a tennis skirt. And like...
I've seen you style it in some crazy ways.
Yeah, and I used to tell Nike from the beginning, tennis is gonna be like one of the main looks for the girls later. Please, can I have tennis skirts? Can I come with a collab? Like, tennis is the one. And they're like, yeah. And now Everyone's wearing tennis skirts. All the girls are, like, it's tennis is the vibe.
One time you try to
tennis.
monetize this and you tell me.
This is another thing I should be monetizing. You know? I just don't know how to do it. Guys, please tell me.
The good sport. The good sport. The tease.
The tease, yeah.
The tease here. So we have this little tradition on the podcast
Okay.
where we ask you to give us 3 of your favorite workout jams. Like, what do you listen to when you work out?
Excuse me. Like, it has to be a specific song.
Yeah, so 3 songs that will be added to the podcast's Spotify playlist.
And is that specifically for working out? The Spotify playlist?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the Good Sports playlist.
I
But,
see.
you know, okay, let me tell you why this became a thing.
Yeah.
I like to listen to my music when I work out.
Definitely me too.
A lot of the times it's just like maybe I was at the studio the day before and it's
Okay,
a rough
dope.
bounce and I'm like, okay, cool, let's see how much
Yeah.
I can tire myself with this rough bounce, figure out where it needs to be more
Definitely, I hear you.
because I need to always be this is my toxic trait. I need anthemic music. That is like
You need
literally
what?
Anthemic music.
Okay,
Everything
like an
super
anthem. I
grand
got you.
and like cinematic.
Yeah,
and like,
it's beautiful.
yeah, at high energy, right? So
Because you also imagine when you perform it, like,
Exactly.
how are the people going to feel when I perform?
exactly, like of
Yeah.
course this is gonna encourage me to like squat heavier or do more reps or whatever. So this started the fascination of wanting to find out what other musicians and athletes listen to when they work out. What do you like to jam to?
I mean, can I give genres and not specific songs? Can I send you the specific songs? Because
Yes,
like now I'm
yes.
trying to remember
no, it's okay.
the names, my boy.
It's okay.
But like for me, boom. You
Yeah?
know, like boom, the genre, that gets me going. And then grime. Like UK grime, Rari workout. Like, yo, do it left, do it right. I'll send you that. That song goes hard. And then also, you know, the Travis Scott Fiend.
yes.
Boy.
They work hardy.
When I was in Paris, that was getting me through 10-kilometer runs for real. Like being on
Well, like on repeat.
on repeat. Like put it in my veins, but it's for real. So I think, yeah, already that's 2. But yeah, boom and grime are my main genres.
Okay.
Cause they're hard. You know, you wanna like
Yes,
stay hard. I ain't playing no
exactly.
R&B. I'm sorry. That's maybe for a stretch, but no.
For like the yoga, it's
Yeah.
like the yoga music. Do you ever listen to your own mixes?
No, it's so weird. Like I never listen to my own interviews, like I might not even listen to this. I love
That's
you guys.
okay. You have your own
I love you so
system.
much, but it's my own cringe. It's like even Johnny Depp. He said he's never watched any of his movies.
Never. Like
In an
what,
interview,
does
he
not
said
go
he's
to movie
never,
premieres?
like if he goes, he won't watch the movie. And like I always thought about that because I find it really hard to watch my interviews.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I want to watch this and see how you guys put it together, but like hearing my voice makes me cringe, seeing myself, I don't know why. So it's like listening even to a mix. I took so long to make that mix. I don't want to hear it again. You know what I mean? Like I want other people to enjoy it. I put my all in it. I heard it over and over and over. When I bounced it, I heard it. You know, I'm not going to listen to it again when I'm working out. Like I'll have a playlist of songs I like, and that also has to change because I'm like my attention span and just changing things all the time. So yeah, I find it really tough to like listen to my own things.
But I think there's nothing wrong with it. Like I mean, there might be more to look into, like in
I think I
therapy.
should. I need
as to, like,
therapy on that.
What
Why
like the
do I
voice
cringe when I
cringe
see
thing.
myself?
I think we all do, right? It's
Do
like,
we? Do you feel that? Can you watch your own interviews?
I have to.
Okay.
I have to.
To see how you can improve.
Yeah.
I feel you on that.
Like the thing is, it's a little bit more critical to what I do as opposed to what you do to watch back, because not only am I trying to get better at like the arts of conversation,
Yeah.
but it's like when you haven't gone through sufficient PR training,
Okay. I feel
especially
you.
when you're going on, I don't know how you handle radio interviews
Yeah.
that are very short. I hate not having enough time to be able to get deep and get into a groove with someone in conversation.
Yeah.
And in those contexts, I get really like flustered and like I don't even
And you
tell
don't
you
have
the
enough time
most
to say
important
that.
thing.
I know, I get you.
And like it really
But
freaks
don't
me
you
out.
make notes like before you go to any radio interview or whatever, and like these are my main points. Like I need to make sure that I talk about my music that's gonna come out. I need to talk about the show that's coming. Like For me, that's what I do. I just make notes on the main points I need to drop. Then whatever happens else.
Let go and let God. After that, it's done.
As long as I said those main points. And it can just be 5 main points. Like, and I feel like that's what PR, I never had PR training, but like when I watch things, I feel like the PR people are always like, okay, make sure you just speak about this and make sure you mention the album that's dropping on the 25th. And like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Oh. So you saying like, let's say you go on YFM. Are you going to go find that interview and listen to it?
I can replay it in my head. I don't have to go on the The inner cringe plays. The inner cringe is playing live
in my head. But I'm saying like now going and listening to it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I listen to it so that I can find like the moments that like, so because I remember what made me cringe, I try to find those exact moments and realize what in my brain tripped that led me to not be happy with it, you know?
I hear you on that
But like the note one is also a really good piece of advice because I don't think I've like taken explicit notes for like, okay, these are the 3 things I want to touch on. So I leave the interview and I'm like, I didn't say this.
No, you have to. Because next thing, like, because also they excited, they've got their own question and you're like, you have to guide the conversation sometimes.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. But you know, that's why I started this podcast because I'm like, you know what? We don't have to run out of time. We can just speak.
Yes, and just chop the shit out of it.
I want to get into a little bit more on like the tour side of things. I want you to walk us through the crazy experiences that you live, girl. How do you like manage the tension between like nightlife being your work life, for one?
I'm still trying to figure it out. Like I said, like my voice goes because I'm forever shouting in the club. Or like just the smoke machines and the smoke and people smoking in clubs is hectic. And now you're in Paris and everyone's a smoker. So that's tough. Dude, I'm really trying to figure out balance. Like I said, trying to work out in the morning when you've just gotten back from the club. And I have a great booker. I will say that, like, I'm not signed to anyone, but I have a booker named Freddie who's based in Germany. He's based in Munich. He's a German. He is like, I don't know how to explain it. Like,
German? I think that's, I get it.
So it's like, let me explain. Like, for example, I would do all my bookings. I'd have to speak to the person, to the promoter, and I'd have to send my hospitality rider and like the tech that I need and the flights and, you know, so he handles all of that now, which is so great. And he'll send me like a PDF with everything. Like, okay, this is the person you talk to. This is who's picking you up. This is their cell phone number. This is your flight. This is your flight number. This is how many bags you're allowed. This is the time you have to get there. And I'm like, phew. So now I have that for like the last year, which has been amazing. And it's like a game changer because like, having 17 shows in the space of like 2 months is like wild. So he helps me a lot with that. We try and get hotel, like we'll say like we don't take less than like 3.5 star, 4-star vibes because like a gym is very necessary to try at least get 30 minutes in to get the toxins out and all of that. And like a balance, my boy. If I could just leave alcohol, I would be great, but I just find it really difficult. Like, one, I think it gives me a little bit of confidence. I know you don't need it, but I don't know. Like, I need a young shot before I get on the decks, or like 1 drink before I get there. But if I could just drink sparkling water, I'd be so proud of myself. And I think I'm slowly gravitating there. Like, I do drink less, but if I could cut that out too, it would be so much easier. Because like hangover, getting up, going to the next show, hangover, drinking so the hangover goes. And you're like, you know, so it's like a constant thing of doing that for 2 months. And like your energy gets depleted. And obviously the adrenaline keeps me going for 2 months. And the people also like constantly injecting energy into you. So you're like going, but like you don't realize how much you're giving the people. So it's like the whole time your battery's like, dude, by the time I get home every time from tour, I have no voice. I can't even walk. My back is sore. Like I sleep for like maybe 3 days straight. It's like super intense. But I don't really want to complain about it because it's the life I chose and it's exactly what I imagined I'm going to do. And I think like the team I keep building around me, like the team is growing of people I trust and they like really make things easier. So like admin, finally, I don't have to handle that because admin will kill you. Imagine you're trying to be a creative and handle your admin at the same time. Like it's death. And I've been doing it. I know, like I've been doing that for 9 years and it's horrible.
Shout out Freddie.
Yeah,
Freddie, if you're watching this.
Freddie's definitely gonna watch this. Yeah, he watches things. He's the one who'll tell me like, yeah, you can improve in there and there. You know.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need people like that.
For sure. But I still travel alone, which is tough because like you'll go to like they say Morocco, you've never been there before, and you don't know who's gonna pick you up. You know what I mean? So I'm also a woman.
Just a guy with Doowap written there.
And like let's say for example, I was DJing in New Delhi. You know?
Yeah.
And it's like you don't know who's there, and you're so far from everyone, friends, family.
Yeah.
And like, you don't know if they're just gonna kidnap you and you're gone forever.
Yeah.
So like, sometimes I'm like, girl, this is so risky. Like for example, Nigeria, I got booked for that this year. And I was like, I am not coming alone. Like I love Nigeria and I really, really, really wanna go, but I will not arrive in Nigeria alone, you know what I mean? So I told them like, I need a road manager and I'll come. And they're like, oh, we don't have budget right now for that. I was like, listen, contact me when you have budget. I definitely want to come, but like just respect the fact that I'm a woman and like I don't know what's gonna happen, you know? So sometimes that's just a bit risky. I remember this one time, I went to Limpopo for a show, and I'd never worked with this promoter before, and I decided like I asked my husband to come with me. He doesn't come with me to a lot of shows because he calls me Dragon Doowap. Like when I go into like this artist mode, I might not necessarily be the right, like, I don't know how to explain. When I go into this artist mode, I'm not necessarily his wife, you know what I mean? Like, I'm super sexy, I'm out there, I'm gonna talk to everyone, I'm gonna flirt, I'm never gonna do anything, but as a Libra, I'm a natural flirt, even just like, you know, men are gonna come and talk to you. It's like, you know, and I don't want him to feel uncomfortable, and he is super, patient with that vibe, but sometimes I'm just like, boy, don't come so that we don't have any issues and like I can flourish and be who I am. But this one, I'm like, it's Limpopo, I've never been. I just need you to come just for this show. And he's like, yeah, sure. So we check in. I'm like, let me shower just before the show. I shower, he's there in the room. This man walks in, he had a key to my room. Some tall ass man walks in and he's like, this is my room. And then my husband's like, no, this is DJ Doowap's room. And he's like, where's DJ Doowap? So he expected me to be in that room. Like imagine they didn't know I was bringing my husband. So imagine this man was gonna walk in the room and I'm there in the shower. I don't even wanna know my boy. So like that whole show was a complete clusterfuck, and it like turned out that actually they probably wanted to traffic me. And like, so that was like one of the red flags where I can't really be traveling alone, and I need to be really careful. And like we really we vet those people. Like we check like Freddie, you know, he'll check where's the venue, how many people are there, how many people have you worked with, who are the previous DJs you've worked with. Like we go through a whole vetting process before I even hop on a plane, you know? So there's like a lot of those elements when it comes to touring that you have to be super careful of. But a lot of the time it's epic. Like getting to see all these different cultures, like for the first time being in Italy and being in Milan and just like eating burrata, my boy, like real life burrata, going to Naples and like having pizza. Like pizza is from there. The original first pizza was made there, you know. They're so passionate about their pizza, they'll be telling you all these things, they're ordering for you, you're getting stuffed, but you like want to be friendly. And like the best coffee I ever had was there. Like they so into their coffee in Italy. Like as soon as I got off the plane, do you want an espresso? Exactly. Like espresso. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go. Then they're like, oh, let's go get pizza. Do you want an espresso? Oh, I'm like, whoa, espresso nonstop just before the club. Getting espresso. Like, actually, it's so delicious. Let's do it, you know. So I love that part. And then like also Morocco. Like they were like, we have to take you for couscous. I'm like, couscous? That's what you're gonna take me for? Boy, there are levels to couscous. Yo, I did not know. They were showing me couscous on levels, and like that was amazing. So I love that part. And like also learning about the countries. Like you can read it in a book, but being there is a whole different thing, you know? Like learning capitals, like yeah, you can learn them. But like, what's the capital of Morocco? You probably know this. You look like a geographer.
Yeah. The capital of Morocco, it's not Casablanca. Is it Rabat?
Yes.
Thanks.
So like, sorry, let's do that again.
Let's do that.
But like, not a lot of people know that. And I didn't know that. I thought it was not Casablanca, I thought it was Marrakesh. And then I was like,
Fair enough, yeah.
And then I was like, oh no, it's Casablanca. And I'm like, no, girl,
This would have like it's basically named Morocco, so like it makes sense. Marrakesh.
What, for Marrakesh? Yeah.
Like
so then I found out they were like, yeah, you're playing in the capital. The whole time I thought I'm playing in Marrakesh. And I'm like, it's Rabat, girl, you're playing in Rabat. I'm like, oh. Now I know, you know.
Now
so
you'll never forget.
Yeah,
also.
so that's what I mean. Like traveling, like you really learn a lot about cultures, geography, vibes, you know?
So you say you travel alone. Like how is the dynamic of it other than everything that you have mentioned about like safety being a factor and Freddie holding the fort down for the Curly?
Yeah.
Like, what is it like when you arrived in Morocco?
But most people are so epic. Actually, other than the Limpopo thing, I've never had a bad experience. Like, people want to show you their city. They want to spoil you. Like, most times, I never pay for anything. Like, they'll pay for your dinner, your lunch, your breakfast. They'll make sure that you are picked up from the airport. Like, wherever you're going, they'll pick you up. They really want to show you off and show their city off, you know? And they want you to come back. And yeah, so that's the experience I've really felt most of the time. Like, the hospitality is insane. Like, wherever I go.
I love that for you, girl. You deserve to be treated like that.
Yeah, I do feel like a queen most of the time.
Yeah, you come back and you're like, yeah.
No, then I come back to South Africa and I'm like, you guys don't know.
You guys don't know.
You don't know me, boy.
You're like, I know couscous.
Boy.
Like, you don't know couscous.
You
like,
don't
I know couscous.
like, I know couscous.
What is the layers to couscous, by the way? I really want to know.
The levels.
Yeah, like
the different things you can put in, the different sizes you can get. Like, put it in a soup, don't put it in a soup, put it with chicken, don't put it with chicken, put it with beef. Like, there's levels.
I love it, love it. Can't wait to experience Morocco. It just sounds like such a...
It's so beautiful, and the people are so incredible. That's definitely like a highlight.
Is it hard leaving places, you know? Because you are on a tight schedule and you have to like keep it moving and go to the next place and the next event. Is it ever like I wish I could just stay here, you know?
I think I'm always like, I'll be back, can't wait to see you again. So that's more the energy is like, I'm excited for the next place and I know I'm coming back, and like I've added that to my database of places I go. So next year when it's time to hit people up, instead of like I maybe started, that's actually one of the big things is like, people are always like, how did you even start this tour life? Because now I've been DJing for 10 years, but I've been touring for like maybe 6. And it's like literally started from the ground up. I would buy my flights to Europe and I'd buy a return ticket and I'd give myself 2 months and then I'd start hitting up random places. And I'm like, hi, I just got a bunch of bookings. I'm gonna be in Paris and in Lisbon, like no bookings. And like all I know is my flight is to Paris and back to Johannesburg. And then I just start hitting up people and I'm like, I'm booked here, like I'm around, so let me know, this is what I've done so far. And it just started like that. And like maybe I start with 5 gigs and the next year I got 10. And it's like those same people hit you up and then like now it's another 5. And it just grows and grows and grows. And now it's like the database is huge and it's like worldwide and it just keeps growing and it's like, it's super cool. Like, and I really think people wait for the bookings for overseas and it's like, no boy, you have to buy your first ticket like you do.
That's great, because I was going to ask you, like, what advice would you give to South African artists who want to, you know, perform internationally? And you just said it.
Buy your ticket.
Buy a ticket, go somewhere where you can stay.
No, exactly. If you have any, and that was why I always chose Paris, even now, is my best friend lives there. So that makes it a really great base, you know? And then you can go, traveling around Europe is so cheap. So if you tell a place, like if you tell a venue, I'm based in Paris for the next 2 months, like, can I come play in London? They're like, yeah, that's on your train right away, we'll pay for that. Instead of being like, yo, I'm in Johannesburg, can I come play? Like, what? I must pay for your flight. For a DJ, when we have 50,000 in London, no, we're fine. You know, so that's what really works in people's favor is like, believe in yourself, go there, find your base.
First ticket.
Yeah, buy your first ticket and just go.
Deep.
With belief.
Tell them what you must.
For sure. Even Akio, you know DJ Akio?
Yes, he was actually our first guest.
Is it? Shout out
so far, it's you and Akio, so I love that.
Oh, he's the best, my boy.
He really is.
Oh, I love that guy. So we used to always bump into each other like on our tours, and it was the same thing. Like he would buy his ticket and be like, Doowap, so how long are you there for? I'm like, I'm just gonna do 2 months. I'm gonna tell all of them 2 months. He's like, I'm gonna try for 3. I'm like, let's go, my boy. And then we're just like, yo, I just got this place, and I'll be like, I got this place. I'll let them know about you. And we started also exchanging like contacts. Like he's gonna be there the Friday, I'll be there the next week Friday. You know, vibes like that. So both of us did that, and now he's got a shitload of shows overseas, you know, and it really is about buying your ticket.
How much do you think in your case and in Akio's case, having really, really highly valued passports plays a role in your mobility?
Obviously. No, definitely.
How different do you think it is for a South African passport? Is it extremely different?
Yeah, because I think my husband would join me everywhere I go if it wasn't for the passport. Like, I'm blessed to have a British passport. I have a British one and a South African one. So obviously that opens a lot of doors. But I think a lot of South African artists now, since the Amapiano scene, they've shown that even with the South African passport, you can be traveling worldwide. From Waffles to Gogo to Focalistic to Blackie. It's like, but they have a US passport.
Do they?
Yeah, that's why they always in the US. But yeah, like the South African passport.
Tyler, a girl from Joburg, definitely proving that, you know.
For sure. So
possible.
it is possible. And I think South Africans, sometimes we block ourselves thinking the visa process is super tough and like, how am I even going to do it? But if you can get one place to say yes, then you can use that for your visa process and get it done.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those like stamps of approval, just like strengthen the passport, and then the more and more you get, the easier that it gets.
Yes.
So this weekend you're going to be heading to Kenya.
Yes.
Are you going to be heading there alone? What's the vibe?
Yes, I'm going there alone, and it's my first time in Nairobi, and it's going to be epic. I can't wait. Like, they fully into the South African vibe, so I think it's going to be dope. Another place ticked off my bucket list.
Love that.
And also just, I've been wanting to travel more around Africa. Like, Europe is great, but come on, what compares to Africa?
And East Africa, you know, the vibes are just so friendly.
Yeah, and I definitely want to do Ethiopia, and I want to do Ghana, and there's so many places.
It's such a huge continent with so many emerging markets, and I'm sure that you're sooner or later, dude, you're going to be booking all of these events.
I hope so.
That's
Thank
crazy,
you.
dude.
Yeah.
Tour is such a big part of like your brand now. Like what do you want to do now that you're back in Joburg? Is the next thing still planning the next tour? Like how do you move? What do you do when you get back from tour?
I just get overwhelmed. But I love South Africa. Whenever I get back, the whole mood changes. It's like, oh my God, you're an international DJ, as if I wasn't here the whole entire time. It's like, you always have to do well overseas for them to appreciate you back home. So now that I'm back home, like I've been getting a lot of bookings here for the summer, which is super dope, like branded vibes, which is cool. And Rocking the Daisies, which is amazing. I'm so excited. And I'm low-key so happy that it got postponed. I know Rocking the Daisies, you guys are probably heartbroken and it was tough, my bad. But for me, like I was coming back 2 days before Rocking the Daisies and I was just like, how am I gonna do this? Like I'm dead. I haven't fully prepared my set. I wanna be the best. It's a huge stage, you know? And like when they were like, it's pushed back by a month, I'm like, my prayers have been answered. So now I'm working on that show. Like I want it to be epic. We've got an extra month to pull something epic together. So I can't wait for that. It's going to be on the 18th of November, which is next month. So I'm working on that. That's why I'm dancing with Pantulas. But I need to keep quiet because, there's copycats on these streets. So I'm not going to say everything, but like the show is about to be insane. And it's like not the vibes that people are doing. It's so different and it's so epic. And I actually hope we can take that show all around the world because it's like so authentic, so South African, so vibey, so high energy. And yeah, so I'm working on that. And then I've got my merch that just dropped that's at 99 Juta in that beautiful store. Yes, thank you.
Congratulations.
And I'm like, thank you so much. And merch is such a big thing for artists overseas. And I think South Africans don't take merch as serious. And I'm just like, every year I tell myself, like, I need to take merch overseas. And I never get it ready in time, And merch is, like, so vital. Like, whenever I go to Basta festivals and I perform overseas, there'll be all the DJs and all the artists with their merch sections and their merch tables. And it's like, Doowap, here's your table. I'm like, yo. I don't have anything this year, guys. I'm like, oh.
Start taking things off that you're wearing. You're
Like my beads.
You're like,
Yeah.
I wore this.
It's crazy. So now I finally am working on my merch and like Shopify and all of that. So that's exciting.
Congrats, it's a big move. It's a new
It
era.
is. Thank you. It is because like also I feel like it's that fashion aspect. So I also don't just want to be dropping t-shirts and hoodies because that's not me. You know, so like for me now, obviously I'm dropping silk and satin and ridiculous things because I'm an overachiever and I just want to break myself. So yeah, my merch is wild. And then music, I've been sitting on an album for a year because I have anxiety. God, I don't want to be judged, which is so stupid because I'm always telling everyone like, make the jump and be fearless. But like I'm completely gripped by fear with this album, but I just want to release it, so I'm hopefully going to release it soon. And then with that, like music videos
Can
and
you share the name to the project?
Izinja Zipsugu. It's been
Oh my god!
that one.
It's the project!
It's the
Oh, from the song, The Dogs Are Outside,
Yeah.
guys. The dogs are outside.
exactly. So it's from that,
Put it
it's-
outside, girl.
I know.
You are
Everyone's
the
like,
dog, and
where-
let's go outside.
Girl, you have been dropping songs, you have been rolling this out. You're like, where is it now? And I'm just like, yo, now it's time to actually drop it. And I'm just like, oh my God.
Drop it so you can go on tour again.
I know.
With your merch this time.
With my merch and with music videos and just release it into the world. And also like people respect DJs more if they're playing a lot of their own original music. Right now I have like 5, 7 original songs where like I want to be dropping a lot of my own original music, like because you can also up your fee, you know, if it's like all your production and all your music, like then your fee can go up. You can't really be expecting a high fee if you're playing everyone else's music, you know.
But also, you know, on the back end, the performance rights.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
You're earning from it for playing your own shit.
Yes,
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
And there's so much money. Like I feel like that's where the main money is with music, is the licensing and like putting your songs in movies, in series, in video games. Like that's where the real money is. So I want to really transition into that. And honestly, I study sound engineering because my goal is to be Hans Zimmerman. I don't know if you know Hans Zimmerman, but I'm trying to be that guy. I want to be a composer for movies. I want to make music for movies. But now I got a pretty face, so that's why I'm on stages. But as soon as that's done, I am going into my studio and
That's not going to be done. You must
I mean,
just
my
do it.
pretty face is forever.
Do it right now. you need to take your own advice on this.
Yes. No, but I'm already making music, but it's like about really fully going into it, you know? Post-production levels, that's what I studied and that's what I really want to do.
Nice. So are you like mixing your own project or like?
No, I'm not mixing and mastering my own project, no. But I am working with people and we're doing it collab vibes.
I love it. I can't wait to hear the full project.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna press you every month. I'm gonna send you a reminder to,
Oh my God.
to put this out because
Like,
you
where's
gotta.
this Zipsugu?
Yeah, you gotta put it out, dude.
know,
You know,
it's
like
bad.
the thing is, it's not ours to hold on to. Like
That's
once it's created. Once it's created, even as much as you can have like a really elaborate strategy of when it should come out so that it can have maximum impact,
Yes.
we don't control any of that. All you
That's
can do is
true.
put it out
Yeah.
and
I totally get you on that. And also, like, it's a moment. There's a moment when you are making that. So you also don't want to lose that moment and lose that energy by, like, holding on to it for too long, you know? So,
yeah, you don't want to outgrow yourself in the process
Yes.
because that happens
Or,
all
like,
the time to artists, you know.
I get you. And also, things are in the collective consciousness. As soon as you imagine it, everyone can take it and they can run with it. And there's a lot of like songs and sounds and things I was doing last year that is now coming into the scene and it's like, oh my gosh. Like I was literally just doing that and like now I can't say to someone like, oh, how come you're doing that? Like, cause I haven't released it.
You're
You
like
know what I
on
mean?
files. I have it on files on my phone. Listen,
you
look
see?
at the dates. Look at the dates. Is that it
Exactly.
first?
So like, yeah, if it's in the collective consciousness, someone's gonna grab it. So you just have to grab it and go.
They're gonna grab it even when you put it out there in front of
As
them.
well.
So
But at
let's
least
just put it
at
out
least
there.
you put it out there.
Yeah, just put it out
Yeah.
there. Put it out there.
For sure.
And I can't wait to hear it.
Thank you. It's coming. It's coming.
I don't have a whole lot of cities to compare it to, like, but would you say Johannesburg is a very network-oriented city?
Definitely. Excuse me. I'd say so for sure. Yo, Josie's energy, guys.
Now that you can compare it to the other cities,
The
like,
more I travel, the more, firstly, I'm like, South Africa is the best freaking country in the whole wide world because we can go and wine and dine anytime, whereas overseas, you have to watch your You have to watch your pocket, my boy. You may be eating out once, also rent, also like transport, also having someone that can help you around the house. Like, we are so blessed, my boy. And then also our youth, like how we can create crazy outfits, crazy music from nothing. Imagine when you get money, you know what I mean? Like, our youth do insane things, and they were like my number one inspiration, because I'm just like, wow. Like, you come from the Kasi, but firstly you made a whole album, you did a music video, and this is your clothing line. Like, how? With what? Like, because I'm sitting here with a little bit of money, and I'm just like, I don't have enough for a music video, you know what I mean? But they've just done like a whole collection and music video, like, and discography or whatever, you know, they've got everything with so little. So our energy, and also like, it's wrong, but how you have to be so street smart here makes you a gangster overseas. You know what I mean? Like, how we unfortunately watch our backs and like move and like, you know.
The pickpockets in Italy have nothing on you. You're like,
people have nothing on you. Even just your eye contact. Like, the eye contact we give each other is very like, in your soul, I see you, you know? And like, overseas people be like, why did you look at me like that? I'm like, yeah, I see you. You know, like, we have a really strong energy that like we don't realize until we travel, and then it's different, my boy. Like, we on another level.
yeah, so that's actually like the protective energy that you take around with you, because South Africa just built so much character, right?
It did, no, for real, for real. But also, we are snobs when it comes to music. Like, you have to do a lot to impress the South African crowd. And like, if you can impress the South African crowd, you can impress anyone worldwide. Like, I will travel around the world, and people will come to me and say, that was the best DJ set I've ever seen in my life. You changed my life, blah, 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 blah. All these things. I come home to South Africa, and they're like, nah. That was Av, next. And I'm like, yo, I just gave you my life. I had dances with choreo. We had the same matching outfits. We had visuals. I came with effects, and you're gonna tell me that's mad? I'm like, do you know that I was just in Milan for Fashion Week, and Sweetie and all of them were there, and they were obsessed with me? You know, it's like, we're such snobs, but that's what makes us so dope, is like, because you have to impress these damn snobs, when you're overseas, you shine. You know?
Yeah, you actually do change other people's lives when you're overseas.
Because sometimes you'll have your doubts until you step out, and then you realize, like, this was South Africa.
Yeah, let's not forget that, like, South African Black Twitter is actually like one of the core Black Twitters, like, in the world. Like, one of the
people are scared to take us on.
Yo, bro.
We will
and rightfully so. Like, all shades of the rainbow will come out.
For sure. I think I sat on your cat for a second.
I think Libby has decided to...
No, she's just listening.
Oh, he's still here. I didn't even see him behind you this whole time.
He's soaking wisdom, my boy.
He really is. So much of bars. So when it comes to networking, I mean, you've been in the industry, and you've had to wear a lot of hats in the industry, where you're constantly dealing with people who want something from you or trying to build a relationship. And what would you say people shouldn't do when it comes to networking? Like, what's a no-no?
What's a no-no? My boy, forcing it. But how do you explain what forcing it is?
Well, especially because the people you want to explain it to never get it.
That you have to force. You know what I mean? Like, I never want to be in a space that, like, I have to force to be in there. Like, if you already make me feel unwelcome, I'm not going to step in that space in the first place. And it's like, just find your like-minded community and grow from there, and you're gonna kill it. Like Broke Boys, you know Broke Boys in Cape Town? They literally did that. Like, it's just them, their small little circle, and they just grew it and grew it. And like, from the music to the fashion to now them having their own space, to now them all driving their own cars and having their own brand and collaborating with massive brands, multinational brands. Like, it's that. Like, start with your small community and don't force the doors. Like, if that door's not gonna open, there's still doors that are gonna open, but like, don't go in spaces you're not wanted. There's so many spaces like that are just haters, and they bring you down, but it's because they're jealous, you know? But also me, I'm an energy person. I can feel, and I think you're also an energy person. You can feel when the energy's off, and don't force it. There's a reason it's off, you know? There's your people all around. They don't need to force to go there.
What did you learn, like, from your days on YFM, where you had to deal with, I imagine, a lot of submissions of music that, you know, people just want to send to you, hopefully making it onto radio. Like, what did that experience teach you?
That there's a lot of shit before you can find good.
Hey, that could be the truth. Guys, let's not pretend like there's no such thing as standards.
No, but What it taught me is that we have such a diverse sound in South Africa. Like, and that's what I loved about my show. It was like my show was known to put music that you haven't heard before. So it was like Muzi for the first time. Now Muzi's worldwide. Like Una Rams for the first time. Like Moonchild. Like just people you hadn't heard before, you know, and like putting Grom on Johannesburg radio for the first time. Like that's what I really appreciated, is to be able to like share how diverse our culture, soundscape, music, vibe is, you know, like we're not just Kwaito, we're not just Amapiano, we're not just Boom, we're not like, we have so much talent. And that was my favorite thing. Like my favorite thing was having a platform to be able to put people on that aren't known. Like, and when people were like, oh, there's so much gatekeeping in radio and there's payola, I didn't even know about payola, my boy. I only found out when I left radio that I was putting music in, that there was payola. And I was like, oh, what? You guys have been charging people to be on radio? That is disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, I was never doing that. Like,
And something, a practice that still exists very much as well.
Like, why would you do that? And then that's how come shitty songs also go on the radio, because they had the money for it. And that's how good songs don't make it, because they unfortunately don't have the money to be on there. So yeah, like, and I always say, even now, I'm dying for a platform where I can put young artists on, because like I'm forever discovering new people, and I always still, since YFM, which was freaking 2014, still getting sent music now. Still getting music submissions, and it's not necessary for YFM, it's just like for me, like Doowap, tell me what you think about this, tell me what I can do with this, where can this go, can you put in your sets, like you even send me songs, and it's like great music, and it's like, okay, but like I want to do more, like yes, it's great to put in my set, and then, you know, like it would be nice to have a platform where these people can be on high rotation, or like where a scout can hear it and now take them worldwide, you know, like I really want that again, and I know it's gonna come. I just don't know,
If
like
anyone, I trust that it's gonna happen for you.
Yes.
And like the idea will come.
No,
and only
for
you will be
sure.
determined enough to actually execute it. So the idea is already in good hands.
No, for sure, thank you. So yeah, I do miss that part of like radio, is like putting people on platforms, you know, that deserve it.
I think you just paid it forward. You know, you got the opportunity, and so, you know, you never got involved in the politics of what a lot of the people who were already in that space and knew how, you know, prized these positions were, and like how important like one song can be on radio. So you extended the same kind of generosity that was extended to you when
For
it came to
sure.
the opportunity.
For sure. And they were always like, there were these things like on radio, they do snooping sessions that every radio DJ does, where they go speak to the radio manager once a week, and they'll tell you like how to improve your show, what you need to do different, what you need to bring in. And like every snooping session, the guy was just like, Doowap, you're super weird. We don't know what you're doing. Like, just carry on what you're doing. Like, your listeners go up every single week. Like, whatever. Like, we don't get your music. We don't get your vibe. Just carry on. I'm like, what type of feedback is that? Like, wow, how do I work with this? And they were like, just speak to your producer. He's doing great. You guys together are a great team. Like, go for it. And I was like, wow, okay. So I've always like been kind of the outsider of this game, and I don't mind it. Sometimes it's a lonely place, but like actually I'd so much rather that.
You'd have a lot more perspective being an outsider into a space. It's like it's being inside, but like on the outside.
Yeah, on the outside.
On the outside.
Underground, but not really. Yeah.
The periphery is a great
like
place. It gives
that
you a
place.
better vantage point.
I was like, it's like an FK Twigs vibe. Because people are always like, don't you want to go pop? And I'm like, no. I like having like a little bit of an arty underground vibe to me. It's like an edge, you know? Like, I feel like if you go full pop, you completely get watered down, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's nice to be an FK Twigs where you can have that art history side of you to it as well.
Especially considering that a lot of, you know, your aesthetic and what's driven you to become a creative were, you know, inspired by greats before you.
Definitely, like a Grace Jones of being fearless, for sure.
I'm gonna play a little game now.
Okay, let's go.
Where I'm gonna ask you more questions, but you're gonna answer them faster.
Let's go.
The segment is called Explain. So we're just gonna be playing. Explain.
Okay.
You kind of already answered this, but is it Nike or Nike?
It's Nike.
Is it because the Americans call it Nike? Did you never grow up saying Nike?
Nike. I think I learned from early it's Nike.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's the Greek goddess.
Oh.
The Greek goddess of victory. That's where the name came from. So
Shit.
her name is Nike.
I
Yeah.
had no idea. I was today years old. Thanks for that.
Okay.
Is there such a thing as bad music?
Bad music. I'm gonna have to say yes, bro. If the production is bad and the mixing is bad, it's bad. Like, yeah, if it makes your ears sore, it makes you feel uncomfortable. For me, that's not necessarily good.
Do you have an example? I'm just curious.
No, I don't have an example.
No, not like name dropping a song or anything, but is there a genre that you don't get?
Yeah, hard techno.
Hard tech.
Like, there was this techno at Mysteryland Festival where I was DJing, and it was,
By the way.
yeah, that was amazing. It was like one of the biggest festivals and longest running festival in the world. But like, it was on the main stage. It wasn't even, okay, there was hardcore techno at this one stage, and like even just coming close to it, I was like, no ways. Then on the main stage, like, you know, it's like, and it's just like, yo, the fireworks are going, and I'm like, this is the main stage. And I was like, I'm clearly maybe never gonna make this main stage because I will never play that music. Like, it feels soulless, you know? And like, for me, music has to have like soul. But then I'm not gonna take away.
Needs to be dancing to it, you know? Just so you didn't get like
me to
exactly
get
what the soul element is.
Because also you can't say that, like, shame. There's people that dedicate their whole lives to techno and to like that vibe and like totally get it. And like, Berlin is techno, you know? And like, I'm sure there's a vibe to it, but like, I am not in it.
Do people perform in Berghain? Like, is that
I think so.
Would you like to?
Like, Skepta had a stay, like, Skepta performed there, so if
Yeah?
Skepta performed there, I could perform there.
Okay.
Because there's, like, a separate section to Berghain. There's not only that, like, main techno side, there's also one where they play a mix of different genres. And I also have that, like, electronic side to me from the UK, so I would be able to hold it down for sure.
Okay, dope. Adidas or Puma?
Ew, none.
Okay, loyal girl.
Question.
Trick question. Yeah, actually, Nike contacted me and wanted me to ask that. And you passed the vibe check. How many pairs of fishnet stockings do you own?
That's so funny. That is so funny. It's like, you know, my drawer, boy. I have a drawer full of freaking fishnets. That's why I'm thinking, like, this is hilarious. I have so many different colors. But let me tell you something. My parents own an adult company. So it's called Hot Monogamy.
Okay.
And it has like sex toys and lingerie and DVDs and like everything around sex. So fishnets is obviously a huge part of that as well.
Do they just like keep on the back end?
So they'll call me, they're like, girl, we just got a new color in. I'm like, I'm coming to the store, you know? Or they'll like keep a packet of fishnets for me. They're like, you must be done with your fishnets. Here's some more fishnets. So I have the ones that like, low rise, high rise, gloves, like body. I have fishnet for days.
Could you give us a ballpark of numbers?
A number of fishnets. Okay, well, you know,
Plus,
fishnets
minus.
like get holes also. So you throw them away often. So I'm just gonna say 20.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ballpark is all I wanted.
Yeah.
That's good. That's kind of how much I imagine. My boyfriend said this question's dark, but I think it's funny. Never swim again or never run again.
Oh, that is dark.
But I said to him, it's not
But
dark.
I'm a mermaid. I'm definitely a mermaid. Like, if
Okay.
you see me in the water, it's scary. So I'd rather not run. Because I'm asthmatic as well. That means clearly, like, breathing outside.
But you run.
I
So,
know.
like, how does that affect your asthma?
That's why I run, to make sure that my asthma doesn't, like, completely take over.
Okay.
So, and I think that's also, like, what made me go super hard being an athlete is, like, I don't want the asthma to be a factor.
Crazy.
Yeah. But definitely swimming. Like, I am a fish, 100%.
I was recalling this memory of like this one time you posted a story like at a waterfall or something.
Yeah,
and you were
my
doing
favorite.
fucking jumps and stuff.
Yeah.
I think I responded to that story being like, whoa. And I even showed it and I'm like, look at how well she swims. I had no idea, you know, obviously, that she
No,
does
it's my
that.
favorite thing. Going hiking and getting like the highest cliffs and just jumping and doing somersaults and backflips and diving in the water and just immersing myself. That's my thing.
Can you do a standing backflip?
Of course I can.
my
Like
God.
here on the floor.
Like a standing
No,
backflip?
into the pool, yes. But not on the solid ground.
Are you sure that's not just like a mental limitation?
I mean, I used to be able to, but I know in this present moment,
Okay.
I definitely cannot.
All right. Okay, we're gonna invite you back like once you figure it out.
Once I get back to
Yeah.
that athlete mode, I
I
don't
feel
know.
like you have it in you, dude. It's just like it's the fear.
I mean,
of hitting the
Nike,
ground.
like a few years ago, asked me to come back to do an advert where I had to dive again, and I was so nervous because diving is not like riding a bike or kicking a football. It's like I thought I was gonna be disorientated in the air. I thought like I just was not ready. And they were like, you have 3 weeks and we're shooting this advert. And I was like, yo, 3, and it was like a big Nike ad. I was like, this is one of my dreams to shoot a Nike advert. So I went back to training, and literally it took days. It took days to get back into it, and it wasn't scary. And like I found myself in the air easily. Yeah.
Bomb. I hope. Is it out? Can we like?
Yes, you can check it out.
Love it. Love it. No, I'm gonna ask you about
Vapor
it.
Max adverts.
Okay, I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it. Do you reuse the beads in your braids?
I do sometimes.
Yeah?
I'll maybe use them like 3 times.
Okay, and then what do you do? Just like get rid of them.
Yeah.
Okay, like gather a whole bunch for me.
You want them?
No, I'm making something with them.
Oh, that's true. Guys, she made me this. Look how pretty.
and you're wearing it
With
so
the evil
cute.
eye. I love it.
That's
this
gonna
is so
be
my vibe.
merch. I'm so glad. I'm so glad,
It's
dude.
totally my vibe. Like evil eye vibe is my thing. So
I'm so
I love
glad.
it. Thank
I'm so
you.
glad. Pleasure. That's actually
Did you
what's
make
gonna
your one too?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
That's what my merch line is gonna be. I'm gonna be making like hand making
I love it.
accessories. So there's gonna be like
Girl, I told you better be careful with these people, hey?
Hey,
Drop that thing before you be announcing
they don't have my
anything.
hands though. Hey, they're not gonna hand make it
That's
for me.
true.
You know.
That's true. They don't have your vision.
They don't have my vision, but it's good advice. You know. Okay, that brings us to the final segment,
Yes.
which is the future.
The future, yeah.
Future. Are Ketsiwe and Doowap different in any way?
Are they different? Yeah. I used to like pretend like I'm the same person. I don't change, but like no, I definitely changed. Like who Ketsiwe is at home to like who she is on stage is definitely a bit different. And like I do switch up, and it's kind of like a Beyonce Sasha Fierce vibe. I think you kind of have to detach, because if you stay like that same person on stage, off stage, who people can attack online and at home, like I think sometimes you kind of have to detach from it and know like that's not exactly who you are, you know?
Yeah, it's a boundary that protects you, right?
I think so.
Because honestly, if I had to stay myself, then my own limitations would apply
That as well.
to the persona.
That's
those
true.
limitations shouldn't apply
That's so
to DJ Doowap, right?
Yeah.
It's like if Ketsiwe made all the decisions, you may not make the same decisions.
That's true. You'll be more based in fear for sure. I get you on that.
What was one self-limiting belief you had to let go of to become who you are today?
Oh, like trying to be perfect. I really try and be perfect for everything, and like nothing's perfect, you know? So even with the music, like, okay, yes, I released those singles, but it took long to release those singles because I wanted them perfect, and they were never perfect. And like my music video took forever to drop it. Like I wanted it perfect, and it's never gonna be perfect. And it's like that was always limiting, and it still limits me, like to want it to be perfect, and it just won't be perfect.
Yeah, you have no idea how much this is killing me. Because I also naturally, you know, we strive for perfection.
The tea.
Dog, the tea.
Oh.
And like the ease lifting, guys, this is one of my best ideas, but it like crumbles, you know.
But that's the beauty of it, because nothing's perfect, and that's also where like real character comes into things. Because if it was perfect, it'd be so boring. Like someone was telling me a while ago, this woman I really respect, Rochelle, she was like, because I was really sad or just about like my direction and how things are going, and like that thing of like feeling like people are making it and you're not making it, and also social media making you feel like you're never enough. And she was like, girl, your story has to have these ups and downs. It has to have like these pits of doubts. And because when we read your book or when we go watch your movie, like we don't want to hear it was perfect. We don't want to hear Doowap came into the game, she became the best DJ in the whole wide world, nothing happened to her, she got married, and that's the end. And it's like, no, we want to know like the times when you were like in deep depression, you couldn't get out of it because you had self-doubt or whatever. Like those are the things that made you who you are, you know?
And the music, like I think that's also a really big part of why it's more important for the music to be out there, so that people can actually hear you grow
and see the journey. No, that's true.
Hear like the kinks that you end up resolving with the next thing.
For sure.
Because I was reflecting on this yesterday just about my own music, that I'm not like a very big sharey person, so a lot of the ways that people document a lot of the things that they do and share on social media doesn't come naturally to me.
Yes, I hear you.
So my music becomes like the primary expression of my vulnerability and the thing that I do want to share. So if you get to follow like the discography and see growth or see this idea, you know, come full circle or whatever, that's you being a part of this journey with me.
Yeah.
You know?
And you being vulnerable in those moments, for sure.
So, Sharon, I'm really going to send you a reminder.
What you preach is what I preach to all these artists. I'm always like, because I'm sure there's lots of artists and producers you listen to or you know as friends, and you hear their music in the studio and you're like, oh my God, this is revolutionary, you have to drop it. And they're like, yeah, I will. And 2 years later they call you and they're like, yo, I've got this new project. Like, boy, but you didn't even drop the last one. Like, and they're like, no, I wasn't ready. But now's the time. And it's like, and I always say to them exactly what you're saying, like, yeah, but we want to see that journey. Like, how did you get here? Like, what were you doing back then? So I get you. I do need to just release and keep it moving.
I'll keep you accountable too. Don't worry.
Thank you. You're a real one.
Why have I've already asked you this. I'm going to mention that as someone who is continuously committed to reinventing themselves, what is one dream you still want to pursue?
I have a lot, but I definitely want to do Coachella. I just feel like I won't be complete without it.
Girl, I will personally fly to watch you play Coachella.
I know it's going to happen. For me, as soon as you can envision it, you already made it happen. And like that has been happening for my whole aspect of my life. So I know it's coming. Rolling Loud as well. So it's like a bunch of festivals I still need to kill. Rolling Loud and Glastonbury, main stage, has to happen. And then a bunch of really great music videos, because I'm such a visual person, but I get limited by budgets, and I'm like, it's not enough for what I want to do, and I want to add animation and CGI, and like, it's like sometimes just make it simple and dope, you know? So like a bunch of music videos, I really want to do that. Then I want to have another platform, like I said, like maybe an Apple radio show or a TV show where it's got to do like maybe with culture and lifestyle. Yeah, I think those are the main things right now.
Are your dreams musical?
Yeah. Like I said, the Hans Zimmerman for movies.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
It's not ending. Yeah, you're going to be like scoring films.
I see myself like in this huge house on a mountain, looking over the ocean, having a beautiful studio, having kids run around. But I'm like, okay, mom's going to a studio now, going to a studio, have it like nice dim lights, and I'm just there making music. There's like beautiful screens with the movies playing that I'm making music for. I have like a team that comes in, they play live instruments, we have affected, you know, like those vibes. That's what I see later. I love but that's much later.
Yeah, you gotta play Coachella first. You know?
Yes, there's some stages I definitely want to rock before that happens.
I love that for you, and I'm sure you will.
Thank you.
I'm sure you will. So, I know how near and dear to your heart the Kwaito movement and genre has been.
Yeah, massive.
Would you still describe your sound as future Kwaito, or should we expect something different with
the album definitely has future Kwaito for sure. But there's also Bacardi, which is now growing. That's why I was like, I was on Bacardi last year, and Bacardi's here now. Oh my God. So Bacardi, and then Boom. Like, boy, we cannot deny Boom. I think Boom opened the doors for Amapiano, to be honest. So yeah, that genre still needs a lot of like energy, and I think it can like shift dance floors, because like even DJs overseas are playing a lot of Boom now, which I think us here at home are missing out on, because like now we're getting tired of Amapiano. We're like, what's next? But we can go back to Boom and we can do Bacardi and like elevate that, because it's killing dance floors overseas already.
Already.
So that's what my album is going to have parts of.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. It's going to be so exciting. I can't wait to hear it.
I know.
Yeah, pre-ordering, pre-saving.
Everything.
Nah, dog, I want to hear it before it comes out. Fuck around.
We'll have a listening session for sure.
Okay. To close off,
Yes.
we have a tradition where we ask you to tell us about one book that's changed your life.
Oh my God, how did I know you were going to ask this?
Back in 2016, you said on the topic of education that
What?
traveling
Yeah.
and reading
Yeah.
is all that you need.
Did I say that? I must have been
said that.
avid into reading at that time. I've always been a big reader, but lately I haven't really been reading a lot.
It's cool. It doesn't have to be recent. It's just like one book that you know had like a profound impact on you. It doesn't have to be so. Shoe Dog.
I honestly love Shoe Dog.
That's the
Phil
answer.
Knight, Shoe Dog. Like, I love the story of how Nike was created, and just like going and going and getting turned down and believing in your dreams and putting all your money behind it and it might not work and then you still believe in it and everyone thinks you're crazy, but you carry on and then next thing you've built this huge company and people are like, oh, I knew you were gonna make it, you know? It's like, yeah, right. But I learned a lot from that book and I love it. And I think it's an easy read and I think it's for every age group. Yeah.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, girl.
It was so crazy because in the car, when I was driving, I was like, she's gonna ask you what book you read. And I was like, what? I would talk to myself, you know? So I was like, why do you think she's gonna do that? I'm like, I just know her. I'm like, the voice, by the way. The voice, like, I just know she's gonna do that. So like, be ready. And don't freaking say Paulo Coelho, girl.
How did you know that? Like, have we actually had a conversation about this?
I think my soul.
Oh my God, Taylor's gonna freak out when he watches this because like we have this thing of just saying like everyone just says The Alchemist is like the most profound book they've read. And I feel like that's like the only book that makes me feel like you don't read otherwise. If that's like, and it's a beautiful book, guys. I'm not trying to take anything away from it.
You have to read it if you haven't read it. But yes, it's not the end of
So
spirituality.
funny.
I know myself was telling me.
You're tapped into like my soul clearly because you knew what book I didn't want to know.
Yeah,
even.
it was like, whatever you do, don't mention Paulo Coelho.
Cole, before we end, can I ask you to give me that little trophy thing that's on there?
She's a champion.
She's a champion.
I love it.
She is a national. She's a booker, guys. Go booker.
I'm gonna add it to my collection.
Yeah, she's a champion, but most importantly, she's a good sport.
Oh, thank you. This is so clever. Thank you so much for having me, the good sport. I love you guys so much. I love you so much.
Thank you for being a part of this. I love chatting to you.
It was so lovely. And thank you for doing your research because people are super lazy and you did your research and it made me want to go deep and I love that.
I'm so grateful.
Thank you.
If you took away any value and learned anything from this episode, please remember to like and subscribe so myself and Aiden work even harder to bring you more good sports and amazing guests.